Okay, day 2 of the Norwegian Championship. I had black, obviously. My opponent had white. He spelt it. He played e4. My opponent, I sat coincidentally next to him yesterday, and he made a terrible mistake. Left his queen hanging, and then he tapped himself on his head like he was having mental problems. And I felt sorry for the bloke. And when I knew it was him I was playing today, I hoped it went better for him, even although he was playing against me, and it did go better for him. We'll see about that as it goes on. But he arrived a few minutes late, and as soon as he sat down, he messed up the score sheet. He wrote his name on the black side and my name on the white side, and the arbiters wouldn't accept that. I said that. He tried to scrub them out, didn't get it right, and he was really, really struggling with it. So after a couple of moves, I went to the arbiter and I got a new score sheet and I filled it out for him and I gave it to him. And after about 6 or 7 moves, he made a mistake in writing down. He'd lost track of one of the moves, and he asked to, when it was his turn, as the rules state, he asked to see my score sheet so that he could copy the moves I had made. I gave him my score sheet, but it was no good to him because I'd used English letters, and in Norwegian they use different letters. So I wrote on the back of the disused score sheet what the letters were, what they were equivalent to in Norwegian, but it still didn't help him. So he mined, could I write? So I wrote for him, and he nodded and smiled, thank you, and seemed very pleased with that. And a couple of times he really messed it up. There was a couple of points in the game where there were captures, and he captured. There was one point where there were 2 pawns in front, doubled pawns, and he took with the pawn that was furthest back, not the one that was furthest forward. And then he accidentally took a pawn sideways. He wasn't trying to cheat. He wasn't. It's just he messed it up. Now the rules say that that's an illegal move. The rules say if they make an illegal move, you stick up your hand, and the arbiter comes and gives you 2 minutes and puts a cross on his paper. And if he makes another illegal move, you stick up your hand and it's lost. It's a lost game for him. But I wasn't going to do that. The bloke was an old man. He was a very nice gentleman, and he was struggling. Why should I do that with him? I know in chess it's easy to get carried away with crushing our opponents and putting them down, but a gentleman of nearly 80 years old deserves some respect, was what I thought, and he got it from me today. So I played e5, and he played knight f3. And I played my old trusted friend, the Petros defense, which I've played since I learned to play chess in the Neolithic. And at that time, when we played chess, it was just a case of banging a couple of stones together. But yeah, okay. So then he came out with his bishop, Urusov Gambit. I can take the pawn. I don't take the pawn, of course. And I play the other knight. And I was thinking maybe he might play knight to g5. If I could draw an arrow. But I can't. So I was thinking he might play his knight to this square, but he didn't. He played, I'll just have to delete that move. He played pawn to, and then he played his other knight. So I played my bishop out. I'm ready to castle, he's ready to castle. He played his pawn out. Now I play always in these situations a6. Now it might seem a bit strange that I could stop it. If I'm going to move a pawn from a little pawn move on the side, a rook's pawn, why don't I move the h-pawn and stop him from pinning my knight? Well, that's an idea, but I look at it like this. I always look at it like this. This bishop here on c5 is my most powerful piece in this opening, and I want to preserve it. And a6 gives me the opportunity to preserve. If he plays knight to a5, I can withdraw all the way to a7, and it's safe there. So that's my priority. And he played bishop to g5, and it's here that I done my first mess up. It was here I went and collected the score sheet and wrote on his score sheet, and then, you know, whilst he thought about this move, and then when I came back, I hastily made my move. The things that are approved by the computer are h6 to chase the bishop away or swap it, bishop back to e7. It looks like a bit of a waste of time, but it's not entirely. Or castles. But I played a dumb move. And now he can gain an advantage by doubling these pawns. And he comes straight in to do that. And so I thought I would make it as complicated as possible. So I played bishop to e6. And he took with the knight. This was the wrong idea because I get to chase away the bishop. And now he takes the other bishop. This is also a mistake because when I take back, I've got 4 pawns against 2 in the centre. I can play safely f5 or e5. But not just that, it allows me also to play queen to e7. And then if at a later point in the game I can play to f7 or g7. Get castled on the queen side and concentrate on a king side attack. So I'll take the bishop, and he falls back. Oh, I'm happy to double his pawns. I think my doubled pawns are of a higher quality than his pawns. So I castle, and he castles, and I thought whilst he was thinking that I would castle. That I might play king to d7 instead of castling. But I didn't. I castled. I decided to play it safer instead of taking a risk. Now, this is 12 moves. By this point in time, my opponent has used the time control was 1 hour and 30 minutes for the first 40 moves, with 30 seconds added time for each move made, and 30 minutes added at the end of 40 moves. And we'd come to, as I say, move 12, and my opponent had used over an hour. You know, really was thinking about it a lot, and you know, so then he c4. I think it's a terrible move. The computer isn't so much against it. Thinks it's, you know, doesn't make much difference. But I just think I'm just gonna bust open that centre, and that's what I do. I play d4 straight away, and of course I'm going to be looking to play e4. And yeah, I think he's thinking that maybe he wants to come to b4 with the pawn. And I push the pawn. Really, that was a mistake. I should have taken the pawn on c4. He can't take back. But, you know, when the game was finished, I had 1 hour and 29 minutes again left of my 1 hour and 30 minutes on the clock. So I didn't use any time at all. Actually, I used 10 minutes because you get 30 seconds for each move. So he took, and it was this point in time that he took with the pawn that was on e3 instead of d3. He wasn't trying to cheat or anything. He wasn't trying to give himself an advantage. He just messed it up. Fair enough. And I take back and threaten his knight at the same time. And yeah, threaten his queen at the same time. Sorry, queen and knight are threatened. So there's only one move he's got, which is knight to d4. I thought about taking and having connected pass pawns, but the f pawn is a bit difficult to support. So I came to I came to e5 with my knight, and I'm threatening the pawn on c4, and I'm also threatening to come into d3 with my knight and have an octopus knight dominating the position. And this was a difficult situation for him. The computer says that it isn't really. It's about plus 0.5 for me at the minute. And he used such a lot of time now. And by the time he made this next move, he had 3 minutes again. And as you can see, there's 23 moves to make until he gets the time control. So even with the 30 seconds plus, that's 11 and a half minutes. He's got less than 15 minutes to make 23 moves, and he was going slow. It's just not going to work for him. So anyway, he played b4. He's trying to get an attack. After the game, he said he had spent so much time trying to work out if there was some way of creating an attack by playing queen to h5, so that he could then play queen to f5. A reasonable idea, just unfortunately it doesn't work. So I took on c4, and now I think the computer says I've got about plus 0.9 in advantage. And here my opponent's time went out. Yeah, bit sad for him. And being kind-hearted, there's a limit to the kind-heartedness. I had to claim a win on time. I fetched the judge. The judge came and said, "Yeah, you've won there, Colin." So yeah, that was great. And then afterwards, we had a chat. Very, very nice gentleman, and he said he was almost 80 years old. He said he was still working as a physiotherapist, and he's written a few books on physiotherapy. I checked up his Wikipedia page afterwards, and yeah, he's a celebrity physiotherapist in Norway, at least. And he developed a method which actually I use sometimes in my job, which is when you put a sling around somebody's arm or leg and move their leg for them when they're recovering. He developed that in Norway. So yeah, very interesting bloke. We had a really nice chat afterwards. Turns out he's from Bergen, even although he was registered as a member of the Oslo Sjakkselskap, an Oslo club. And we talked about the things that had happened in the game, the score sheet and all that, and that I hadn't claimed the illegal moves. And I talked to him about how it's important to have respect for people, and how I thought it was far more important to have respect for him. As we walked out of the playing hall, I said to him, "Great respect for you, Gitle." He was called Gitle. It's a great respect for you, Gitle. Nearly 80 years old and playing. He said, "I haven't played in over a year, and I see that I've got a few memory problems or whatever, concentration problems." So yeah, so we talked about that, and he said that the way that I had treated him with respect had made it into a fine party, a fine game for him. So, yeah, I won the game, but I think I feel more like a winner because I was able to let my opponent feel the respect which he deserves to feel. And I think he said he enjoyed it, so I think he felt like a winner because he had won some respect. So yeah, there's more than one way to win. I happened to win this one on time. Yeah, thanks.